You want to know how the Imperium of Man celebrates the holidays? You think they're hanging stockings and waiting for a fat man in a red suit to slide down the chimney? No. In the 41st millennium, if something comes down your chimney, you burn the house down and call the Grey Knights. But, believe it or not, they do have different versions of holidays that are supposed to be like Christmas. They range from mutants delivering gifts, all the way to celebrating orcs dressed as Santa Claus. But before that, we have to understand why actual Christmas doesn't exist anymore in 40K. The reason Holy Terra has no nice holidays traces back to the Age of Strife. This chaotic era saw techno-barbarians wipe out or twist all traditional religions, like Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism. Warlords destroyed them, or warp influence corrupted them. By the time Big E rose to the top, religion was essentially extinct, and he intended to keep it that way. You see, Big E was a staunch atheist who believed logic was more valuable than faith. He had a vital reason. Mass belief fuels the chaos gods in the warp, which ultimately would try to consume humanity. The Unification Wars were thus fought not just to unite Terra, but to smash every church, temple, and shrine. The goal was to make everyone an atheist and starve the chaos gods. Christmas officially died when the last church on Terra was burned down. The Emperor, disguised, offered the last priest in history a chance to join the Imperium, but the priest had balls of steel and chose to die with his faith. Thus, the Emperor thought he had canceled Christmas forever, but ironically, some of its historic traditions and meanings still live on in various other 40K celebrations. Take the hive world of Necromunda, for example. Back in the 30K era, Primarch Dorn and the Imperial Fists launched a massive crusade to save the planet from an orc invasion. The Greenskins brought a horde, but the Fists brought fortifications and superior autism. As a result, the orcs got absolutely annihilated. To commemorate their liberation by the 7th Legion, the locals invented the festival of Imperial Fistmas, but eventually shortening it to just Fistmas. During the actual battle, a swarm of radioactive mutants crawled out of the sludge to third-wheel the fight. The Imperial Fists, being the xenophobic gigachads they were, turned most of them into ground beef. However, one mutant survived, sneaking through the piles of corpses to start shredding Space Marines. Finally, the monster reached Big Daddy Dorn. They threw hands, and naturally, the Primarch beat his ass up. But right before the killing blow, Dorn paused. He didn't have a sudden change of heart. He had a cold, logistical epiphany. The people of Necromunda were miserable, their infrastructure was wrecked, and morale was lower than a guardsman's life expectancy. They needed a distraction and a little hope to keep them productive while rebuilding. So, Dorn looked at this abomination and granted it mercy. He commanded the creature, dubbed Fantaclaws by the soldiers because of its huge talons, to gather supplies, wrap them up, and distribute them to the good citizens of Necromunda every year on the eve of Fistmas. To this day, the myth persists. Fantaclaws hunts down lone traitors, steals their loot, and gives it to his midget mutant servants to create gifts for Fistmas Eve. But they aren't doing this because they're nice. They're doing it because they're terrified that if they miss a quota, Dorn will come back and kick their asses. It's basically Santa Claus and his elves, but with a grimdark 40K twist. Speaking of grim, dark twists, even the galaxy's scummiest Xenos have their own versions of Christmas. Deep in the filth of Orc society, the wretched little runts known as Grots worship the legend of the Red Gobbo. You see, Grots are essentially the peasant species of the Orcs. They are seen as slaves, and some of these slaves are tired of their Orc bosses. The Red Gobbo is considered a hero to their species, as he leads a rebellion. He dresses like Santa Claus, but acts like an Ork Revolutionist trying to burn the establishment to the ground. Unlike Saint Nick, the Red Gobbo couldn't give a solitary shit about who's been naughty or nice. He's strictly here for the revolution. His sack isn't full of toys for good little boys. It's stuffed with high explosives and rusty shivs. The gift he offers is the chance for the Grots to blow their abusive Orc overlords into hell. And just like Santa, he's basically immortal because it's not just one guy, it's a title. The moment one Red Gobbo gets inevitably stomped into green paste by an angry war boss, another sneaky little Grot scurries out of the shadows, steals the bloodstained coat, and puts it on. And the myth continues on until the end of time. Aside from Fistmas and cosplaying orcs, there's also Sanguinala. This is the galaxy-wide, corporate-mandated holiday that everyone is forced to give a shit about. It's theoretically meant to honor the primarch Sanguinius getting murdered by his traitor brother Horus. Think of it as a fucked-up fusion of Christmas and Easter, only with significantly more blood and depression. If you're lucky, your planetary governor might even give you a day off to weep before sending you back to the manufactorum. The entire holiday fetishizes the time Sanguinius tried to 1 versus 1 Horus on the vengeful spirit. Imperial dogma claims he used his psychic voodoo to foresee his own death, but went in any way to create an opening for the Emperor. The Imperium uses this story as top-tier gaslighting, teaching citizens that martyrdom is the ultimate goal. If a literal demigod can die for the Emperor, you expendable pieces of trash in the Imperial Guard can certainly throw yourselves onto the front lines without complaining. And because this is the grim darkness of the far future, nobody actually parties during Sanguinala. It's an emo depression fest. You wear a red badge over your heart to symbolize the Primarch's blood. On Holy Terra, this turns into a massive, fanatical mosh pit at the Eternity Gate. People are weeping, screaming, and getting trampled to death by the millions. But it's fine, because if you get crushed by a fat pilgrim in the name of Sanguinius, it counts as a holy sacrifice. Surprisingly, they do actually give out gifts during this holiday. It's a weird surviving tradition of old St. Nick folklore where soldiers and citizens leave out boots or bowls to be filled with small tokens. The specific gift depends on whether you're rich or poor. While the wealthy exchange nice items like fine silks or ancient tech, the Imperial Guard receives practical necessities such as extra rations or new combat knives. Although this generosity is framed as gift-giving in honor of Sanguinius, it's actually just morale-boosting propaganda, especially if you're a poor Imperial Guardsman. They'll likely end up with corpse starch rations as a blessing from the Emperor. It is literally the 40K equivalent of getting coal in your stocking. Except you have to eat the coal to survive, and the coal used to be your squad mate, Dave. And you'll fucking thank them for it. Ultimately, the holidays of the 41st millennium are twisted reflections of the Imperium. While the Emperor attempted to extinguish faith, the spirit of Christmas persists through various different traditions. In the grim darkness of the far future, celebration is merely another form of propaganda, where gift-giving is weaponized for morale, and the only true miracle is surviving another day on the front lines. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to support this heretical channel, I've just opened YouTube memberships. Go to my profile and hit the join button if you're interested in contributing to the Imperial Tithe.